Okay, so you own a casino. Not a slot machine at the airport, not a corner in a grocery store, an actual casino, marble floors that seem to swallow sound, a ceiling of your own custom carpet pattern, designed specifically so nobody can look down at it and get dizzy walking across it. Rows of slot machines humming in a key that was engineered by an audio consultant to feel exciting instead of stressful. A high-limit room behind unmarked glass doors where a single hand of baccarat can move six figures. You walk the floor at 2 a.m., and it is more full than it was at 2 p.m. That's the picture. That's the fantasy Hollywood has been selling you since the 1960s. Sounds like the greatest business on earth. It is not that simple. And by the end of this, you're going to understand exactly why a casino is one of the strangest, most heavily engineered, most fragile businesses a person can own. First, let's talk about why anyone wants this in the first place. Because it isn't really about the gambling. It's about control of a machine that is mathematically designed to win. Most businesses compete on price, on quality, on convincing someone their product is better than the guys next door. A casino doesn't have that problem. The house edge is built into the mathematics of the games themselves. You are not hoping to win. You already know on a long enough timeline that you will. That certainty is intoxicating to a certain kind of investor. Add the fact that a casino is also a hotel, a nightclub, a five-star restaurant group, a concert venue, and a retail mall all under one roof and all reporting to you, and you start to see the appeal. It's not a business, it's an empire with one building. Before we go further, we need to be precise about what kind of casino we're talking about, because the word covers wildly different businesses. A tribal casino operates on sovereign land, under a completely separate regulatory framework and a compact negotiated with the state. A riverboat or regional casino, common across the Midwest and South, is a smaller, single-purpose gaming hall with modest food and beverage attached. A card room is barely a casino at all, a few dozen poker and blackjack tables with none of the infrastructure. And then there's the integrated resort, the Las Vegas Strip model, the Macau model, the Singapore model, where the casino floor is actually the smallest part of a building that also contains thousands of hotel rooms, a convention center, a shopping mall, and a theater. This script is going to focus on that last category, the integrated resort, because it's the version with the most moving parts and the version most people picture when they imagine owning one. Let's talk about what it costs to get in the door. Because before you've placed a single chip on a single table, you've already spent more than most companies will ever be worth. First, the license. In most American jurisdictions, you can't simply buy a building and call it a casino. You need a gaming license, and the process is one of the most invasive background checks in American business. Regulators will examine your personal finances, your business partners, your family members, your sources of capital going back years, looking specifically for any connection to organized crime or money laundering. The application fee alone, in a state like New Jersey or Nevada, can run into the hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that's before the investigators start billing you for their time, which they do directly for every hour spent on your background check. The whole process routinely takes 12 to 18 months, and there is no guarantee at the end of it that you get approved. Then there's the building itself. When Wynn Las Vegas opened in 2005, it cost roughly $2.7 billion. When Steve Wynn built Encore next door a few years later, that added another $2.3 billion. The Cosmopolitan of Las Vegas came in at $3.9 billion. Resorts World Las Vegas, the newest major property on the Strip, opened in 2021 at a reported cost of $4.3 billion. These are not typos. A modern integrated resort now routinely costs more than an NFL stadium, and unlike a stadium, it has to include a working kitchen for 11 restaurants, a pool complex, a spa, and enough structural steel to support a rooftop nightclub. Then there's the gaming floor itself, which sounds simple and isn't. A single modern slot machine costs somewhere between $15,000 and $25,000, and a full-scale casino floor needs 2,000 to 3,000 of them. Do the math, and you're already at $50 to $75 million just in slot machines, before you've bought a single card table, a single roulette wheel, or built out the cage where the cash actually gets counted. That cage, by the way, isn't a counter with a till. It's a vault-grade room with time-locked doors, dual custody procedures, and a surveillance system watching every dollar that moves through it, because the entire business runs on physical cash in a way almost nothing else in the modern economy still does. So how does anyone actually pay for this? Because nobody is writing a personal check for $4 billion. The financing structure of a casino looks unlike almost any other real estate project, because casinos have historically had trouble borrowing from ordinary banks. Traditional commercial lenders have often treated gaming as a reputational risk they'd rather not touch, which pushed the industry toward a specific tool: high-yield bonds, what most people call junk bonds. Casinos pay a premium interest rate to borrow because lenders price in both the volatility of gambling revenue and the regulatory risk of a license getting pulled. On top of the bonds, you'll usually see a syndicate of specialized gaming lenders, banks that understand the industry and are comfortable with it, providing a term loan for construction. Some of the largest projects bring in outside equity too. Private equity funds or sovereign wealth vehicles looking for a piece of a trophy asset, which lowers the amount you personally need to borrow, but means you're no longer the only person in the room making decisions. Now the building is open, the license is active. It's time to make this thing pay for itself. Let's start with the obvious one, the gaming floor. Here's the number people don't expect. The house edge on most table games is thin, often between 1 and 2% on games like blackjack and baccarat. That's not the business. The real number is the hold percentage, the share of money wagered that the casino actually keeps after players cash out, and on slot machines that number runs far higher, often 15 to 20% of the money fed into the machines over time, because slots are programmed with a fixed payback percentage set by the manufacturer and regulated by the state. On a floor generating $1 million a day in total wagers across slots and tables, even a conservative blended hold rate can produce well over $100,000 in daily gaming revenue. Across a year, that single revenue line alone can clear $40 million. Then there's the hotel. A resort casino typically runs 3,000 rooms or more, and here's the part that surprises people. On the Strip, room rates are often kept artificially reasonable, sometimes even below what a comparable non-gaming hotel would charge, because the room isn't really the product. The room is the bait. Every night a guest sleeps in your hotel is a night they're 100 feet from your gaming floor at 2 in the morning. Then there's food and beverage. And this is where casinos quietly print money that has nothing to do with gambling. A celebrity chef restaurant inside a casino can charge prices 30 to 40% above what the same menu would command in a standalone location, because the guest isn't comparison shopping, they're already inside your building. Nightclubs push that further. A bottle of vodka that costs a casino $15 wholesale can be sold tableside for $400, and on a Saturday night, a single nightclub inside a major resort can out-earn an entire mid-sized restaurant chain. And then there's the segment that actually determines whether the whole building is profitable or not: the high rollers. In the industry, they're called whales, players who wager hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars in a single visit. A casino will fly a whale in on a private jet, comp the villa suite, comp the meals, comp the entourage, and lose money on every single one of those line items, because the expected value of that player's play at the tables dwarfs the cost of the comps. This is not generosity, it's math. A casino will spend $40,000 or $50,000 making one player feel like the most important person on the planet, because the model assumes that player will lose several times that amount at the tables before they leave. Now, let's talk about what nobody budgets for when they picture owning this place, because the operating costs are relentless and they never stop, even when the floor is empty. Regulatory compliance is its own department, not a line item. Every dollar that moves through a casino has to be tracked for anti-money laundering purposes, and every transaction over a certain threshold triggers federal reporting requirements. You need a compliance team, a legal team, and gaming control agents who can show up unannounced to audit your cage at any hour. Then there's security and surveillance, and this is not a couple of guards at the door. Every square foot of a casino floor is covered by a network of cameras, historically called the eye in the sky, feeding into a surveillance room staffed around the clock, because the moment the cameras go down is the moment the casino is exposed to fraud it cannot detect. Then there's the gaming tax itself, and this is where geography changes everything. Nevada taxes gaming revenue at a relatively light 6.75%. New Jersey runs closer to 9.25% on slots. Macau, the largest gaming market in the world, has historically taxed gross gaming revenue at rates north of 35 to 40%. Where you build determines how much of your own revenue you actually get to keep. Then there's labor. A resort casino is one of the largest single employers in almost any city it operates in. Dealers, pit bosses, housekeeping, kitchen staff, security, valet, entertainers, often 5,000 to 7,000 people on payroll at a major property, many of them unionized, with benefits and scheduling requirements that add real cost on top of every paycheck. And then there's the comps themselves, which I mentioned as a whale strategy, but which actually apply at every level of the business. Free drinks on the floor, discounted rooms for loyalty members, free buffet vouchers, all of it is marketing spend disguised as hospitality, and all of it comes directly off your margin. Now let's talk about how this can go wrong, because the casino industry has a graveyard, and it's instructive. A casino's debt is governed by the same kind of covenants you'd find on any large leveraged property. Minimum coverage ratios tied to operating cash flow, and if revenue falls below the threshold, lenders can step in. But a casino carries an extra risk layer no ordinary hotel has, the license itself. Regulators can suspend or revoke a gaming license for compliance failures, and a casino without a license isn't a discounted casino, it's an empty building with a debt payment due on the first of the month. The clearest case study here is Revel in Atlantic City. Built for roughly $2.5 billion, opened in 2012 as the most expensive casino ever constructed in the city, marketed as a luxury, cashless forward departure from the traditional Atlantic City floor. It filed for bankruptcy twice and closed permanently in under 2.5 years, eventually selling for a fraction of construction cost. The building wasn't badly built. The market for it simply wasn't there. Regional competition from newly legalized casinos in Pennsylvania and New York had already begun eating into Atlantic City's customer base before Revel's doors even opened, and no amount of marble in the lobby could fix a demand problem. So let's put two honest scenarios side by side. The optimistic scenario: your property sits in an established, high-traffic market, Las Vegas, Macau, Singapore. Convention business fills your hotel rooms mid-week when gaming traffic would otherwise be soft. Your high-limit room has a handful of consistent whale relationships that return multiple times a year. Your entertainment and nightlife programming is strong enough to be a destination on its own. Gaming revenue runs $40 to $60 million annually. Hotel, food, beverage, and entertainment layer in another $80 to $100 million. Total annual revenue lands somewhere near $150 to $200 million. Against operating costs, taxes, and debt service that leave you with a genuinely healthy margin. You spend a decade or two paying down construction debt while the property appreciates as one of the most valuable pieces of real estate in the city. The realistic scenario: a new regional competitor opens 90 minutes away with legalized gaming of its own, and your drive-in customer base splits in half overnight. A recession hits, and casino spending, which is discretionary in a way hotel stays and dining are not, gets cut first and hardest by exactly the mid-tier gamblers who made up most of your floor traffic. Your convention bookings soften because corporate travel budgets tighten. Your debt covenants don't renegotiate themselves just because the market got harder. And a coverage ratio breach triggers a punitive interest rate step-up right when you can least afford it. The gap between those two scenarios isn't measured in the millions. On a major integrated resort, it's measured in the hundreds of millions, and it's the difference between owning the most valuable building in the city and watching your lenders schedule the auction. Here's what the smartest operators in this industry eventually figure out. The casino floor is not actually the business. It's the anchor that gets people to walk through the door and stay for 3 days instead of one night. Every dollar a guest spends on a room, a dinner, a show ticket, a spa treatment is a dollar you keep almost entirely, with none of the volatility of a blackjack table. The gaming floor creates the reason to visit. The rest of the building is where the stable money actually lives. You are not buying a casino, you are buying entertainment and hospitality real estate portfolio with a regulated gambling license bolted onto the middle of it. And the license is simultaneously the most valuable asset you own and the single point of failure that can end the entire business overnight. which brings you back to that floor, at 2 in the morning, still full, still humming in a key someone was paid to design. It looks like magic from the outside. From the inside, it's a spreadsheet with very good lighting, and the person who understands that difference is the only one who actually keeps the building standing past year 3.